What's going on, everyone? So, the Pelicans deferred the Lakers draft pick, which, by the way, Lakers absolutely won the Pelicans trade for Anthony Davis. Not only did the Lakers win an NBA championship, but like everybody from that trade is on another team, and they're probably trading Brandon Ingram this offseason. So the Pelicans are literally going to have nothing when all is said and done for the Anthony Davis trade. But I digress. I just needed to kind of throw that in there. But again, so the Lakers are going to maintain and keep their 17th pick in this year's draft. Now the question becomes, who do the Lakers draft? What do they end up doing? Now, I want to preference this by saying I will be pretty surprised if the Lakers end up keeping that pick. I believe the Lakers are going to package that pick and with whatever else and go make a trade, make some type of move. I wouldn't be like completely shocked, but I'd be a little surprised. Even if the Lakers do pick somebody, I am pretty confident that they end up trading that person anyway, right? Like, even if they can't find a deal, say around, the draft, right? Once they get into free agency, I think Jalen Trufino and whoever they pick with that 17 pick end up getting traded, unless it's Bronny James. Now, look, Bronny James has actually had a very good draft combine. He was actually very good in the clutch event. He is making some noise. You're starting to hear the media and all of like the scouts and all that stuff really starting to come around to Bronny James. There was a report that said he basically has moved up as many as like 40 to 45 positions as far as the draft goes. He was projected late second round, more likely undrafted, to where now they're saying like he could be a late first round pick. And there's some teams that may even take a flyer on him mid-draft to maybe the 20th, even without LeBron James coming. Because that's the big thing, right? I think it's one part like Bronny trying to separate himself to an extent, but I also think it's a lot of like Clutch and Rich Paul in particular, LeBron, all kind of trying to nudge Bronny to the Lakers. Because for years, all we heard was that LeBron wants to play with his son. He's, if whoever drafts him, look out because LeBron's coming, right? Like for years we heard this. Like LeBron went on like a media tour about it. And then now we come to the moment and it's like, it's not a big deal. I don't really care. Like if you draft him, he's man, he's this, that. All of a sudden it's that. Rich Paul's telling people like he's only working out for the Lakers and the Suns, right? Like Rich Paul's telling people like, hey, he's not signing two-way, he's not doing any of this stuff. He wants to be drafted, right? Like I think chances are either I don't think the Lakers take him with the 17th pick. I want to, again, preference that, but we're going to discuss that a little bit. I do think that the Lakers trade the 17th pick. I think most likely what happens is they kind of work their magic to get Bronny into the second round, and then the Lakers either move up to get a pick closer to like, beginning of the second round, or they are able to kind of position it enough to where he ends up landing 55th. I don't think he goes undrafted anymore. And I do think, and I've always said, I always basically said, I don't think he goes undrafted. I think some team will take a flyer on him regardless, especially some of these teams that are like, top, like the Phoenix Suns are a team that's heavily considering drafting Bronny, who Bronny's working out for, right? Phoenix they have the 22nd pick, I believe. So there's a lot of talks of like bare minimum he's going to fall to 22nd, and then the Suns will take him, and then that'll be that. So I just think regardless, somebody's going to take a flyer on Bronny. This draft isn't looked at as like super deep and super talented. After like the top, 7 to 10, it kind of is just like a crapshoot, and it's just like, we're all kind of throwing darts and hoping somebody or one of these guys land. It's kind of the idea. So I definitely could see somebody going and landing Bronny and just saying, okay, we're going to take Bronny. We're going to use him. If LeBron comes, great. If LeBron doesn't come, fine, so be it. It's not the end of the world. It's kind of where I lean in that regard. But Lakers do have the 17th pick, which means the Lakers could take him at 17 if they wanted to. I still don't think they will, again, just want to make that clear. I would be a little surprised if they took him at 17, just because I think that they're going to trade that pick. But is there an argument for it? Based on what we've seen in the draft combine, yes. Now, I'm not like, I'd be a little frustrated if they took Bronny with 17, but couple things, right? One, again, he has been very impressive. He really has, right? Remove the biases, remove all the noise. He's actually been very impressive as far as the draft combine and like in his workouts and stuff. The intangibles have always been there. He also had the intangibles going in, right? Like USC, he was hyped going in. Now, there were questions in high school going into USC, like, is he NBA ready? Does he need to stay another year? And then obviously the health concerns, which I'm not going to really get into. That's been covered enough. That is something that obviously was, again, a bit of an issue. That's like, hey, maybe you should stick around another year, right? But we have seen, like, he already has a defensive NBA level. Defensively, he's going to be great. I think bare minimum, he could be a Drew, like he talked about how he wants to be a Drew Holiday, Derek White type. I really think he could be that, right? I think bare minimum, he could be that, like, again, elite on-ball defensive guy at the point guard position, make some plays. He has the vision, he has the IQ, and he has the defense, right? I think his floor could potentially be like a Marcus Smart, where he's just like that tenacious, like defensive, on-ball, point of attack guy who has great athleticism, right? Which he does. He has his dad's athleticism, he has his dad's IQ, and his dad's court vision, right? So he's going to be able to make plays. He's going to be great and excellent on ball. It's just, can he develop that offensive game to an NBA level? That's where the questions become. No one really has concerns about his defense and his vision. They have concerns about, like, can he kind of get the all-around game to kind of be like a legit elite NBA level talent, or at least, a quality rotation guy, right? Even if he's not your starting level, can he just be like your sixth man off the bench at the point guard position? Can he be the backup guy, which I don't hate? My biggest sort of, again, personal draw to like the idea of Bronny coming to the Lakers is you would have Bronny with LeBron for bare minimum 2-3 years, right, on the same team, which means now Bronny, because yes, LeBron works with Bronny, he works out with Bronny, like he does things with Bronny, but it's hard when you have the NBA season and you're preparing for the league and you got all this chaos going on. But now if Bronny's on the same team as you and the two of you can now just focus, hey, you're going to mirror me. And I mean, look at what LeBron did to Rui this past year, just working out for an offseason. You don't think LeBron's going to be putting extra effort, extra time, extra motivation? He's going to be able to go home and work out with his son too. Like, I mean, Bronny, like, look, if anybody can kind of shape and mold Bronny into like a legit starting level, and I'm not talking about superstar, I'm not talking about all-star, I'm just talking about like a legitimate, like, NBA player, right? Starting level, fringe starter, maybe, like I said, 6'7" guy off the bench. It would be LeBron. LeBron being able to work with him basically nonstop at that point, because again, there's no, like, you're on the same team. So all the practices, all the workouts, all the, LeBron's doing his strength and conditioning. They're going to be in the same gym. They're going to be in the same area. They're going to be in the same weight room. They're going to be having the same trainers. They're going to have all the same stuff. So to me, that's the biggest draw of going and drafting Bronny. Right? You draft Bronny because LeBron is going to be able to mold him over the next 2-3 years, or however long he stays with the Lakers, which he may end up staying even longer if he has Bronny. So now he can really work with Bronny, really mold and shape Bronny into the player that we want him to be. And then maybe Bronny can take those strides in a year or two or whatever. Right? That to me is the biggest draw. Is that something that I necessarily want at 17? I mean, not really, right? I think that there are other needs, but I just don't believe the Lakers are going to draft anybody at 17. And I think if they do, it's going to be to trade that person. Right now, if the Lakers draft Bronny at 17, then they're not trading that pick. But I default to like, hey, they're going to draft somebody for another team, or they're going to trade that pick before the draft, before somebody gets drafted. And then that's what ends up happening, right? Like they get drafted, like you'll get the announcement, the pick, blah, 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 be traded to. Like you'll get that. That's what I think happens. But again, it's like, who's that much better? Right? That's like, again, it depends on how the dominoes fall too, right? Like where do guys fall? Does somebody dip that's unexpected? I mean, look at like Cam Whitmore last year, right? Like, and then there's always that like diamond in the rough, like, you know, look at Jaime Jaquez, right? Like nobody was expecting him to be what he was this year for Miami, right? But he was, and that was a great pick for Miami. That really worked out for Miami. But like, nobody was like, oh, Jaime Jaquez, he's the guy. Like, I mean, he played like he was a top 5 pick, or should have been a top 5 pick in this year's draft. I mean, the guy was spectacular, right? So, again, like the draft is always a crapshoot anyway, unless you have like a Victor Wembanyama, where it's like, okay, that guy's clear cut. I mean, even Scoot Henderson didn't look great this season, and he was. I mean, there was times where people were talking about him being the number 1 pick, even over Victor, right? Like, it's just you never really know, but we'll see. Anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you like the idea of drafting Bronny? Do you not? Do you think that ultimately it'll happen one way or another? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot, so we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.